Welcome. My name is Tim. In this short video, I'm going to show you how to troubleshoot a faulty circulator on a gas boiler. So let's get started. Now, once you've launched the sim, the first thing it's going to do is take you to the thermostat. And as you know, with any heating or no heat call, you're going to need to make sure that the thermostat is calling for heat. So to do this, click on this little orange circle here on the thermostat. That'll set the selector switch to the heat position, and it will also turn up the temperature setting above the room temperature. Once you've completed this step, click OK on the procedure guide at the top. And this procedure guide is going to walk us through step by step in this process. Our next step is to remove the cover from the burners. Clicking on that, and now we can see everything inside. Now, if you want to zoom in, you can use your mouse to zoom in or zoom out, and you can also rotate to get a better view or a better look at components. Now that we've removed the burner cover, we're going to click OK. And our next step is to take an inventory of what's actually operating. So our first question is, do the burners fire? Well, if we look here, we can obviously see that the burners are lit. So back at our procedure guide, we're going to click yes. Our next step is to see if the circulator pump is running. Now, if the circulator is running, these blue arrows are going to be rotating. And since they're not, we're going to assume the circulator is not running here. So we're going to click no. Now, our next step is to remove the junction box cover, and we're going to begin to take some electrical readings. But before you do that, I just want to show you that in addition to having the procedure guide at the top, if you click this top left icon, the procedure guide will also show up on the left side, and this one allows you to review any previous steps you took in case you're not clear. But for now, we're going to go back to the top view of the procedure guide. So next, we're going to click on the junction box cover and remove it. We're going to click OK on the procedure guide because we've completed that step, and here we see our voltmeter. Now, prior to taking any voltage readings, it's a good idea to use a systematic approach to troubleshooting. This means coming up with an inventory of possible causes of this malfunction. To do this, simply click on the wiring diagram down here at the bottom left, and you'll see the wiring diagram here on the right side of the page. Now, in looking at it, the wiring diagram is going to provide us with a normal sequence of operations, although this wiring diagram is interactive. Now, we know that the burners are operating, so that means the gas valve is energized and all of the low voltage components are good, including the transformer, thermostat, as well as the safety switches and gas valve. But the circulator is not operating. So if we look up top, here's our circulator pump. It's possible that we have a bad motor in the circulator, but it's also possible that we have a faulty set of contacts in the relay between points 1 and 3. So let's find that out now. We're going to follow the procedure guide, and we're going to place one of the leads on the neutral or ground connection, if you like, in the junction box, and the other meter lead on terminal 3 of the relay. So when we do this, we can see that we have 120 volts coming out of the terminal 3 relay contacts, which means the relay contacts are good. They're providing power to the wire leading to the circulator pump motor. Our next step after clicking yes on the procedure guide is to check for any loose connections, either at the wire nuts here or possibly at the relay. And again, you can rotate, or if you need to zoom in, you can do that to inspect the connections a little better. And it doesn't appear that we have any loose connections, so we're going to click no. Our next step is to go to the circulator and remove the cover from it. Now that we can see the inside of the circulator connections, we can zoom in a little bit, click OK. Do we have any loose connections here? Well, if we pan around and we look and we zoom in, it doesn't appear that we have any loose connections. Everything appears to be secured here. So no, we don't have any loose wires. Now, to verify that we don't have a potential break in the wire coming from terminal 3 on the relay to the circulator, we're going to verify voltage up here too. So we're going to place our meter leads at the 2 orange circles here at the hot and neutral connections to the circulator pump motor. And when we do that, we do in fact have 120 volts here going to the circulator, and the circulator is not operating. So obviously the circulator is going to be our problem here. But I want you to take a look at the wiring diagram on the left, and you'll notice that the location of our meter leads on the circulator connections show up on the wiring diagram. This is a really convenient way to help learn electrical troubleshooting. Now, in replacing the circulator pump, it may be a really easy job or it could be a lot more time consuming. And that's going to depend on whether or not the installer provided shutoff valves on the top and bottom of the circulator. And you can see that they did here. We have ball valves at both the bottom and top. And this makes the job really easy. We can simply valve off the circulator, in other words, close those two ball valves, turn your power off, disconnect the wires from the old circulator, unbolt it, bolt the new circulator in with new gaskets, connect your three wires, your hot, neutral, and ground, open the valves back up, and purge the small amount of air that may have got in the system at that point. Now, if isolation valves are not available, this is going to require you to drain down the system. And this is going to take some time because you're going to need to refill it and you're going to have to purge air from the entire piping. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click on the circulator and we're going to replace it. And you can see that that solves our problem. Now, just one other note here. If you want to review any of the steps in the procedure guide, click on the top left icon here, and all the previous steps that we took are there. And you're free to go back and review those in case you're not clear on something. Our last step is to verify that heat is reaching the residence. So once we replace the circulator, we're going to go up and look at the baseboard, and you could typically get to feel it with your hand, and you can feel heat coming from it, and you can see it in the graphic here, the red lines coming off of it. So the job is finished. Thanks for watching. Do you want to try 3D simulations and VR HVAC training yourself? Then visit interplaylearning.com to start a free trial today.